again. And like I told you people before, this thing needs to go to the what? Supreme Courts. Hello, people. Another beautiful day. Yep. Hope your 5 senses work. Health and strength is good. We're excellent. What? Now, here we go again. Listen to this. Remember, Tech for Gamers said blocked, but Tweaktown said stalled. Listen to this. The Federal Trade Commission seeks court order to stall Microsoft Activision merger. The key word is stall here, okay? Alright. It says the FTC seeks federal court order to temporarily prohibit Microsoft from merging with Activision until its internal administrative lawsuit is complete. Says here the Federal Trade Commission asks federal courts to intervene by issuing orders that would halt and temporarily prevent the Microsoft Activision merger from closing. Says here Microsoft wants to buy Activision for $68.7 billion and acquire some of the most profitable video games on the planet. The Federal Trade Commission is wary of the merger and has scrutinized the deal in a heavy Phase 2 investigation of millions of business documents and submissions. During its investigation, the FTC identified antitrust concern and determined that the merger would harm competition. The commission then opened an administrative lawsuit against Microsoft and is now challenging the merger in its internal courts. Although the deal is currently in active litigation with the FTC, Microsoft and Activision can still merge in an action known as close over. The FTC notes that Microsoft and Activision intends to close the merger after June 15th. This has prompted the FTC to request orders from federal courts. The commission has filed a complaint that seeks both a temporary restraining order, TRO, and a preliminary preliminary injunction, PI, from the Northern District Courts of California. And it shows the stuff marked in yellow here. And then it says, time is of the essence. The FTC wants to complete its administrative lawsuit before Microsoft and Activision have the option to close the merger and combine with one another. The temporary restraining order would temporarily prohibit Microsoft and Activision from merging until the district judge in the case, Judge Vince Chabria, made a decision on whether or not to issue a preliminary injunction. Then it says in all black here, their refusal, talking about Microsoft and Activision, their refusal to wait to complete their transaction while this court decides whether to grant a preliminary injunction necessitates entry of the request, TRO. The FTC legal counsel write in the complaint. You know why they're saying that, right? Okay. Let's see. Let's keep going here. It says here, then it says in all black, unless temporarily restrained and preliminary and joined by this court, defendant have represented that they may consummate the proposed acquisition at any time after June 15th, 2023. So it says, the FTC main goal is to secure a very specific preliminary injunction. The government agency is asking California District Court to issue a preliminary injunction that would also bar and prohibit Microsoft and Activision from merging until after the commission administrative lawsuit is complete. Then it says, an evidentiary hearing for the FTC administrative lawsuit is scheduled for August 2nd, 2023. Then it says in all black here, fact discovery in the administrative proceeding has closed. Expert reports have been served, and final witness list and exhibit list have been exchanged. The parties have scheduled expert deposition through the end of June, and motion in Limine pre-trial brief are due in July, the FTC writes in complaint. And then it says, elsewhere in the filing, the FTC says that it is confident it can prove the anti-competitive effects that would arise from the merger, and that its case is strong enough to warrant a temporary restraining order. And then it says here, the commission also says that if no action is taken, Microsoft and Activision could start executing plans that would harm competition, the video game market, including making new business deal, altering existing plans, making new contract, layoff workers, and information exchange between the companies. Sounds like speculation to me. And that's the end of the article. Well, they say pressure bus pressure bus pipes. Like I told you before, this thing needs to go to the Supreme Court. I told you that Microsoft has power in this, and they do. And the Federal Trade Commission is feeling the pressure. So now they're asking a judge in the Northern District of California. They need a lifeline or a life raft. They need some help. They need to be bailed out. They need a bail bondsman, so to speak. Yeah. And like the article said, they have scrutinized the deal. Yeah. Like I told you before, this needs to go to the Supreme Court. You try to make this about a high-performance console market. But we've been having high-performance consoles since what? I would say the PC Engine, Turbo Graphics, Atari 2600s. Those are high-performance console for that time. But to try to use that as your argument now is weak. Then you remove Nintendo. Okay, all right. But Nintendo is a part of the game industry. Okay. And Nintendo has a Call of Duty fan base. Yeah. You asked Microsoft for documents. You saying Microsoft wasn't transparent. They still gave you more documents. So now the pressure is mounting. And now you're, based on this article, you're just speculating, coming up with all kind of arguments. And then you got your buddy, the CMA. You asked for a temporary injunction. First you file a lawsuit and try to block the deal. That's one. Then you ask for an injunction. Then the CMA blocked the deal, but then the CMA did the same thing what you just did. They put a 10-year block on the deal to prevent Microsoft and Activision from doing what's that word? Business. Yeah. You met 26 times, so you guys did talk about all kind of stuff. It couldn't be just about, the birds and the bees. But I'm just saying, yeah, the pressure is mounting, man, and Microsoft has power in this. So, like I told everybody before, I've been saying this from day one. This needs to go to the Supreme Court. That's where this needs to go. When you got government official asking about this, and even going so far as to calling Sony out, and then when you got another government official calling the CMA out about about communicating with the FTC. Yeah, Supreme Court. This is where this needs to go. Okay. Yeah. And they and then you got the European Commission. They support Microsoft on this. They got a say in this. Notice they haven't even called out the CMA for their decision yet. They just haven't been called upon yet. So, yeah, Supreme Court it is. Yeah, you got countries in this. Then you have New Zealand to make a decision by July the what, 17th? Okay. Yeah. I mean, what the CMA took 4 weeks. You had 32 weeks to investigate this cloud gaming stuff. You did it in 4. Yeah. You got some. The CMA, the FTC got some explanation to do. And yeah. Microsoft give 10-year contracts to everybody. It would be one thing if Microsoft kept the deal to themselves. They were giving 10-year contracts to everybody, so they can get get games to those cloud streaming services that different people all over the world used. Just saying. So if that ain't remedies, I don't know what is. So, but other than that, another chapter, another saga in this case. The pressure is mounting, So yeah. The FTC, they need a life jacket, lifeboat. They need a bail bondsman. They need a what they call that they need to be resuscitated. Yeah, they need all kind of help, man. So yeah, just saying. But you got to argue. You can't speculate on this, especially when it comes to cloud gaming, Can't speculate on this. And you're trying to say that the deal harms competition? Let me get this straight. Does Call of Duty, does Activision with Call of Duty, Call of Duty, does Activision with Call of Duty stops Gearbox from making Brothers in Harm? I'm just saying. Does it stop EA from making Battlefield? No, it doesn't. So how is that harming competition? Does ZeniMax Bethesda with Elder Scrolls stops Nintendo from making Zelda? I'm trying to figure, you know what I'm saying? Does it stop it? Okay, alright. Let's see, where can we go with this? I'm just having fun with this. This stuff is hilarious to me. Who else can I use? Let's see here, who else can I use? Okay. Does Activision Blizzard with World of Warcraft, does it stop any studios out there from making games like World of Warcraft? No, it doesn't. So what do you mean by? Now the question becomes now, what do you mean by harming competition? You know what I'm saying? Man, I could go so many ways with this. Okay, let's see here. Who else could I use? What's another game Bethesda makes here? I'm trying to think. I'm just having fun with this. The FTC really don't have an argument. Neither does the CMA. When EA was liquidating studios, left to right, they were liquidating them, closing down shop. Did that stop the game industry from moving, or stop it from growing, or progressing? Just saying. Okay. Who else can I use here? Man, I could go so far back. That's how in depth I am when it comes to this gaming stuff. So, see, when people were see back in the early days of video games, I used to read all kind of magazines, all kind of it, indulge myself in it. I, I didn't have I couldn't get the internet. I couldn't afford the internet at the time. So my way of getting my information was through reading magazines and stuff. So yeah. So yeah. That's why I'm able to explain. That's why I'm able to explain this case the way it is. They're saying to stop competition. All right. That's like saying. That's like saying Bungie stops Nintendo from making Metroid. I'm just saying. They're saying it's harm competition. So I'm trying to figure out what they mean by harm. Okay. Let's see here. Where else can I go with this? That's like saying Sony with Square Enix with Final Fantasy stop RPG makers from making RPGs. I mean, I'm trying to figure out where they're going with this when it says harm competition. You know, and yeah, so this needs to go to the Supreme Court, man, because they got some explanation to do. You know, they got some serious explanation to do. You know, Nintendo has a Call of Duty fan base, man, and it is big. And that 10-year contract they signed, those Wii U players that play Call of Duty, they're expecting some Call of Duty on that console, you know. So yeah, well, they want what's that? World at War, Modern Warfare 4 Reflex, Modern Warfare 2, 3, and Black Ops. Oh yeah. The FTC right now found himself in a pickle right now, in a situation where they didn't do thorough research on this, you know, because the biggest mistake they made was trying to remove Nintendo from the equation, and then try to make this about a high performance console market. That is a weak argument. Because now you got to go in the courtroom and say, okay, you know, a lawyer could actually okay, if that's the you try to single Nintendo out, okay, then how did Nintendo get Call of Duty on the 3DS? And when you say high performance, what are you talking about? I mean, I'm just saying. So yeah, another saga in this Activision court case, man. Yeah, the FTC is drowning right now. You know, they try to use the excuse that Microsoft can't wait until the investigation is complete. Nah, the reason why you're saying that because you don't have enough time to do your research. That's why, and you need more time. So yeah, they got some explanation, man. You know, and the CMA, they're not out the woods. No. This doesn't stop competition, man. You know, Sony had 3 solid shooters. Okay, how comes the developers of those shooters didn't stay consistent like Activision did with Call of Duty? What happened to, like, say, after Resistance 3? What happened to the studio? Or what happened after SOCOM? What was that? SOCOM 3? Or what happened after Killzone 4? Why did those studios stop making those games? What really happened? And did you stop funding them? There's so many questions to be asked about that situation. So, yeah. Supreme Court. Anyway, I'm gonna leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek thing. Dark side. Go. Peace.